welcome to another edition of Deep Fan Perspective. I am your host, Nathan Lyle, here with a preview of the Western Conference Finals matchup between the number 2 seed San Antonio Spurs and the number 5 seed Memphis Grizzlies. And here are my thoughts on this matchup. I think these teams play each other perfectly. They split the season series 2-2, and these teams match up very well against each other. On the one hand, I think the Grizzlies, they definitely have the matchup they have the advantage when it comes to individual matchups, because they've got Marc and Zach Randolph, and yes, the Spurs have Tim Duncan, future Hall of Famer, and he's got the skills to match up with each of those guys, but he can't go against both of them on offense and defense. So there's only one Tim Duncan, and he's twice their age. So it'll be up to some of these other guys, some of the other Spurs big men, to step up their game and take it to another level, and play these guys hard on both offense and defense. It'll be up to Bonner, Splitter, Diaw, Blair, and maybe even Baynes if Pops decides to throw him in there. You know, it'll be up to whoever the hell ends up standing next to Duncan during the game to help corral these two guys, because they're going to give us fits on both ends of the court. You know, they play all sides of the ball. They're going to cause us trouble. I think the matchup at the small forward position is pretty much even. Tayshaun Prince, he's definitely got the experience, but I think Leonard has the experience, he has the energy and the athleticism. Other than that, honestly, they're a lot alike in the way that they play the game, and the way that they're built. But so that one's a pretty even matchup there. And at the guard position, Mike Conley, Tony Allen, these are two of the best guards in the NBA right now. Both of them first team all defense. These are two amazing players who play a complete game. Two of the most complete guards that you will ever find in the league. They play hard, they play efficient and well on both ends of the court, and they are matchup hell for whoever they go up against. And Green and Parker, they'll have trouble matching up with them on both sides of the floor. I think they are matched offensively and defensively. But Conley and Allen are gonna have to deal with Parker, Green, Ginobili, and they might also have to face off against Neal, Joseph, maybe even the Colo if Pop decides to play him. I mean, you don't really know who you're going to see in this series. That's where the Spurs take their biggest advantage, because they've got a lot more depth. The Grizzlies, they win games with their starting lineup, and every now and then you'll have one or two guys come off the bench. Pondexter will step in and hit two threes in the game, and that'll be his contribution. The Grizzlies, they pretty much have to stick with that starting lineup for 50 minutes a game if they want to win. Whereas the Spurs, they've got 13 different players who can come in and make an impact and keep pushing the pace, keep pushing the tempo, keep racking up the score, and keep playing good defense. They've got a great system which was put in place by a fantastic head coach. This team has been in the playoffs 16 consecutive years. This is their second straight year in the Western Conference Finals. It will not be an easy matchup. Either of these teams are more than capable of winning. If you look at what it took for them to get here, the Spurs, they swept the Lakers in the first round. They didn't have Kobe though, so it's not really like that they were a challenge. Whereas the Clippers, it took them 6 games, but they were playing a Clippers team that was not quite full strength, but much closer to it. And then in the second round, Clippers won in 5, but they were faced against the number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder. But it's not the same Thunder that went to the finals last year. No James Harden, Westbrook getting injured this late in the season. They don't really have time to make those adjustments. I mean, Houston almost made a comeback against them. They were able to pull off 2 straight. So, it really isn't as big a deal Memphis beating them. Whereas Golden State Warriors, they're an amazing young team, and I fully expect them to be a top 3 team next year. And the Spurs did a great job closing out the series against them. The first 4 games, it could have gone either way. The last 2 games could have gone either way as well. But the Spurs, they came out, they struggled, but once they got a handle on it, and they started implementing their will on defense, they were able to take a stranglehold on the series and finish out strong. I want to say that the Spurs will win, but I don't want to sound biased when I say this, because obviously the Spurs are my team. And I'm worried that, I definitely have a little bias in here, and the Memphis definitely is a scary team. I would not be shocked if they ended up winning the championship. They have the skills, but at the same time, they're not as scary as they were a week or two ago. You know, just the way they played in these last 2 games, the Spurs started looking like champions. And so, you know, in order to avoid any controversies, I'm just going to say this much. I have no idea who will win. I will not be shocked either way. The only thing I can tell you is that I guarantee it will be a 6 or 7 game series. That is not going to be a sweep. Both of these teams are way too good to let that happen. So this is a game that's going to go to 6 or 7, and you know, whoever ends up coming on top, I will not be shocked. Now, the only thing that would shock me is if it did finish in 6 games instead of going to 7, because that would shock me, because it would mean one of these teams actually managed to win 2 games in a row.